So, I think Mauro? Hold on, we have a small technical problem here because the TV is switched off. No?
Yeah. Okay. I recruited the expert.
Look at that. So, hand over.
Whilst we restore the screen, we have now, we spoke about catastrophes, we spoke about welfare, and now we speak about something which is vital to prevent the catastrophe or to minimize the impact of the catastrophic claim. We have here with us Roger Evans, who is the manager of the UK office of Smith. Smith is a well-known leading company in the salvage operation. We all know that they did recently the bunker removal on the Costa Concordia. A few years ago, they did the removal of the fuel which was left in the Haven, a tanker that sank 20 years ago. So those are, of course, just the most media known event, but of course they are on a daily basis assisting ship owners and underwriters in trying to prevent big catastrophic claim to become bigger and bigger. So Roger Evans, the title of his speech is Preparation. Preparation is already half the battle.
Okay. Yes, good day, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I've already lost a minute already, so basically this is following on from last year's presentation that we did on the Costa, as Mauro said, but the theme we thought for this particular conference would be more about preparation and challenges for the owners, more preparedness challenges. So I'll do a quick introduction and basically about a bit of statistics about maybe that you haven't seen, and then some highlight of the challenges that owners face, and to give you some idea of what it is in an incident. And I think probably to some of you here, obviously probably 90% of you, maybe longer, more than that, I think, that are top-class ship owners. It's basically something I'm preaching to the converted anyway. Basically, this is what our activities, just aware of what you do, this is what we do. We have a fair selection of offshore business, dredging work, and heavy lift, transportation, tug business, and primarily from our side of the salvage entity, which is probably what you're more familiar with. Rough idea of what services are, if you're not familiar with them: emergency response, wreck removal, environmental care, and training. We do specific expertise training for international market, and it's across the board for everybody who's interested, mostly at senior training and ship management level. Where we are, it's useful to know it's a worldwide business. This is where it comes into preparedness from the owner's point of view. Where is it that you need to know where your contacts are, where we are? So I think we then skip into basically what sort of casualties are you likely to see. Here we have casualties by type, which is a percentage worldwide. Hull and machinery 38%, wreck removal, stranded 21%. And they're the two biggest items, and I'm sure our friends at the club here are fully aware of the percentages of that. We've had quite a few. You see fire and explosion type now. That's becoming more prevalent, certainly with container boats, and that's becoming more on the increase. Vessel type, again, 30%, cargo, ro-ro 20%, and other containers 7%, and the rest is tankers. That sort of seems to have reduced over the years. That's now 12%, but it's a fair spread of the type of vessel. So obviously your vessel will fit in there somewhere, and if you haven't had an incident, then there's a good chance that you will do at some point. Pollutant recovery, again, this is something that is becoming more of an environmental issue, and the clubs, I'm sure, are very concerned about the way this is going. If you look at the bunker factor of nearly 90,000, and this is back 2010, That's just pure bunkers, and that's a fair amount of cost additional in the work scope that goes in before any Lloyd's form work or any emergency response. 166 operating incidents, if you like, operations, 57 Lloyd's form, 2 wreck removals, the other salvage contracts of which we use quite a lot. And I know that David he is going to be talking about LOF later. But there are other contracts we use, and that's maybe something that a lot of ship owners are not aware of. Okay, again, just to give you an idea of projects, if you can see from the spread there, that's just 2012. It's pretty widespread, and it covers just about every form of aspect of work. Majority are emergency response, but then you have a fair amount of quite heavy-duty wreck removal operations. And as usual with wreck removals, they tend to be in the most desolate and inaccessible places. Okay, well, we get down to the crux of the matter. Are you prepared as a ship owner? Like I said, I think primarily most of you are. But what are the main challenges? I've put it into before and after an incident, but preparedness obviously comes into beforehand. And company philosophy, well, that's something I'll skip into in a minute, but primarily preparedness. How prepared are you for it? Most of you, as I said, are, but then the following control, social media, how does that affect your operation? How does it affect you as a company? Liability issues, local authorities, as I said, becoming more and more of an influence. Do you have an influence with them? The environment issues, your business and your shareholder value. Well, what is it you can expect from a salvage incident? This is a typical, what I would put a circle of an incident. What happens? You have awareness, the start, assessment, the bidding, contractual processes, planning, executing the work, invoicing or billing, and then you're collecting. But before that, you'll have somewhere along the line, to get it to work properly, you need to have to know where you're going, what you're going to do, and does your team know? This is what happens at an initial response. It's typically, from your point of view, the commercial, contractual, logistical, operational side of things, and that will end up as a response. But we found, I would say, probably slightly less than 80% of incidents. Most response from, say, owners is a bit retroactive. It's not, even if they had an incident, they haven't probably kept up to speed with what it is that their company needs to do to connect with a salvage contractor. And I think with a better preparedness overview, you can mitigate quite a bit of the above aspects. Okay, we go back to what are your challenges? Operating philosophy, are you a professional? Well, you all are, and it's structured, but there are those that are not. And how prepared are you for the eventualities of a emergency response? Have you got all the right teams, etc., in-house? Is your composition, does it have specialist consultants? Are you aware of a salvage company? Do you have systems in place, procedures to optimize your reaction time for a better outcome, which obviously reduces the financial exposure to your insurers and your P&I club? Are you aware of, as I said, salvage contractors' capabilities in your trading areas? And or worldwide basis. It's maybe not. You will get called on the day, I'm sure, of an incident, but it's not always that you haven't got a name or number beforehand. Do you have preferred salvo arrangements within your organisation? And if not, is there a potential for that? Are you OPA 90 compliant? And that, I would say that not just for the USA, although that's where it will come into play, but it's the same idea if you have some better connection with consultant salvage companies as a responder. Do you understand the roles of your insurers and P&I? Well, I would think after today you probably do. So I don't really need to go into that because obviously that's why you're here, to understand what the effect premiums will have on your preparedness could reduce those, and also you get better beneficial terms. Again, shareholder dealings, your understanding of the role with your clients and creating some sort of competitive advantage because you are better prepared and you have better procedures in place. Training of officers, crew, operations, teams, integrated training and familiarisation, external, that sort of courses we put on, and there's a couple of other salvage companies that do that too. Regular crisis training, we do that with most of the big companies, but not necessarily the smaller. And then feedback from your operating experience from your own teams. What do we do? Understanding the role of your responder. What is it that you would expect from us at an incident? Basically, we assess, we stabilise, and we improve the situation. That's what you're going to be paying us for. And in that respect, we act as your expert, and that is something that we would like to stress. It's not a us and them situation. We're there to help you in something that you're not familiar with. Bit of a sad reminder, but if you look at the facts and figures on that, I won't go through them all, but everybody's more than familiar with it here. But it is a reminder that there are quite some fallouts, and that will affect everybody. Okay, as I said, company philosophy preparedness, that's really what this is about, and as I've put at the bottom, a bit of PR, when in need of a call, you can always call the professionals, which I think is us. Thank you very much.
Roger, you have been perfect, okay? So with the exception of Simon, nobody's going to be fine for the time being.